Hey, we are a bit early, so we do have some time. Let's see, I think we have 5 minutes to start. Right. Anyone joined us early today? Like if you're in the chat, just let me know. Just are you able to hear me well? Is the screen visible? Is the right screen visible? Again, I think we are only streaming this on YouTube. Usually we do YouTube and LinkedIn, but this time LinkedIn had some issues. So this is only on YouTube. So if you're there on YouTube, just let me know if you can hear me fine. Just say hi in the chat, maybe. I can also introduce you if you tell me who you are. Yeah, all right, cool. I already see a few people. Um, Abby Tidy. Maybe I think we'll also start with a few introductions. We do have some time. Why don't you tell me just who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what you want to know about FHIR so that I can read it out loud here so others in the community can also know who you are. Right? Yes, Chris Martin, I can hear you. I think the font is a little weird here. I'm going to just change this a bit. Um, I'm going to make this white instead. Let me see. Hmm. Okay, I think it's still visible. Yeah, I'm trying to change the font of this background as a color. Okay, this is a little better, I would say. Yeah, on a white background, I think that's fine. All right. Yes, Preetham, thank you. Screen visible sounds good. All right. Let's have a few introductions. Again, like if you just let me know who you are, your name, where you are joining in from today. That's great. Naveen here, MA USA, interested in Smart on Fire. Welcome, Naveen. Hope you take away a lot from this webinar. Again, we do this every season. Whenever we have a FHIR bootcamp starting, we also run an orientation webinar just for people who want to know a little bit more about what FHIR is all about. Maybe some of you have already joined the bootcamp on a previous season and want to like roll over, or maybe you're here completely new and you might be interested. It's for everyone basically. So let's see here. Just introduce yourselves, and we can quickly start in a while. I think we still have 2 to 3 minutes, so I can maybe do a couple more round of introductions, and then we can start. I see another Navin, but yeah, screen is good. Thank you. So again, let me just give you a brief idea about like what all you can expect from the bootcamp, but overall, we are going to do a lot, but in this webinar, we are basically just going to cover the basics of what FHIR is and cover like the basics of like what all everyone needs to know before you get started with FHIR. Okay. So let's have the comments again. Another Navin from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah. In data analytics and looking to build your first FHIR-based analytics. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Then we have Chris. All right. Chris is in Miami. I'm a research data engineer that's been using FHIR now for a few years. Just interested in hearing some use cases and other opportunities where we can use FHIR. Excellent. Okay. We have Kaushik. I'm a novice beginner in HL7 domain, interested in learning FHIR and applications with the help of IT from Bangalore. All right. Perfect. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this webinar. Like usually, like I go through the slides, but then if there are a lot of you who are already super experts at FHIR, there is a lot of things going on with the regulatory side of FHIR, especially like in the US. I think it's a really, really exciting time to just get into FHIR and like know what is possible. Now, that being said, Epic is suing a lot of other people in the HIE space. I don't know if you're all aware of like what's been going on the last couple of months, but FHIR is one of those reasons why the whole like legal battle between like Particle Health, Epic, the different HIEs, Health Gorilla now involved. Like it's all quite interesting, and if you understand the broader context and like exactly what FHIR is, how is it being used, I think it'll be interesting. But let me know in the chat, like again, how many of you are completely new to FHIR? You have zero idea what FHIR is. You just like joined because you are like, okay, we are going to talk about how to like FHIR, no idea at all. Like how many of you here have zero idea on what FHIR is or like anything at all? Because I can like tune my webinar a little bit according to the kind of audience that we have. So we are from Grizo Labs Private Limited, exploring AI-driven services using HL7 and FHIR for healthcare interoperability and smart clinical data solutions. All right. Yeah, Epic and others have sued healthcare. It's ongoing. Okay, it's crazy. It's ongoing, and overall, I think it's super interesting. Like what is actually taking place in the US right now, and let's see. Okay, so we do have a lot of people new to FHIR. People have a vague idea. All right. So here's what I thought I would do. I thought we can skip a lot of the basics and go straight into like a lot more advanced topics. But then, as I understand, like there is always a new group of people who are just joining in and learning about FHIR. So I will try my best to be as detailed as possible in whatever I'm going to explain. And I'm going to try my best to do that. And in return, I ask you, just ask your questions in the chat. Just let me know that I'm, if I'm on the right track. And again, like if it's the whole webinar is just like value to you, it's a free webinar. So feel free to ask any questions anytime. And again, the healthcare community is usually like really split. There is no easy way for us to connect to one another. So what I've noticed is that even when I go visit a random city in Europe or the US, a lot of people in the same neighborhood who are in health IT like meet each other because they know the common me, right? Like, so the chat is a really good place to like get introduced to other people. So like, please use it as much as possible. So the whole webinar we'll talk about what is FHIR, but again, just to give you an idea, this is the orientation class to our FHIR Bootcamp where we build 5 applications in 10 weeks. So like these are all of the applications that we usually have people build. Now what I've done is everybody who's signed up for this webinar, you have unlocked module 1. You also have access to this on our website. So if you just go to medblocks.com/training, you will have access to the patient module app. That is where the real learning will happen. This webinar is sort of a supplement to module 1. And again, like you will unlock all the other modules if you enroll in the bootcamp in the coming cohort. We start in February. So that being said, this webinar is really about a few important ideas about like what exactly FHIR is. Okay, it's not going to be everything about the spec, and like it's just like these key ideas that once you understand, you just understand like, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, now I believe that in the time a doctor can save one life. Now, again, I am a doctor by training. A lot of people usually ask me, why are you, after going through such grueling training to become a doctor, why would you switch to software? Why would you switch to IT? And I always tell them this. I think like in a time that one doctor can save one life, like technology will save thousands. And this has not been truer than it is today. Okay. Again, like we're just seeing so many lives. Just ChatGPT introduced the whole ChatGPT health feature. People started linking their health records with ChatGPT through FHIR, by the way. Like that whole interaction happened through FHIR. And so many new diagnoses came out, right? Like, so people who were undiagnosed or people who were misdiagnosed for some rare disorders, they just immediately came out saying that, okay, like, you know what, ChatGPT found that I have this condition and I have to go get this particular specialist treatment. And they would have just not had that treatment if not for the technology. So I think this is the truest it can be in like, if you believe in the same thing, like, do you think this is true? I want to know what you think as well, because like you are in the health IT space. Some of you might be technical, some of you might be clinical. So do you think this is true? Do you think in the time that a doctor can save one life, do you think technology will save thousands? Like, let me know yes or no in the comments. Like I usually get a lot of interesting feedback to this statement. So again, like I think just some housekeeping. So if you agree, and again, like just introduce yourselves in the chat. Let me know what you think about that, and just your name, where you're from, where you're working on. We've been having introductions. A lot of people are already engaged in the chat, but I will try to read some of your introductions as we go through the whole webinar. But like it's mainly for yourselves. So just like introduce yourselves. Just talk about like what you're working on if you're comfortable with that. So here's what we'll cover in this webinar. We'll look at how to understand the FHIR framework. We have a framework called like RIPE, R-I-P-E. We'll take a look at why RESTful FHIR is a complete platform shift from whatever was happening before. We'll also look at like why truly mastering FHIR requires you to build, right? Like it's a standard, it's a spec, but then you can't get your hands around it until you like properly build. And we'll also see how anyone today can build if you use the DARE framework. Like even if you don't know how to code, we've had so many people go through our boot camps and actually build things, okay? We'll also talk a bit about how not to use FHIR, and we'll take some questions there. And finally, we'll take a look at how you can use your FHIR skills and actually like make money, okay? So who am I? I am Dr. Sidharth Ramesh, and you might have seen me on YouTube or LinkedIn. I am the founder and CEO of MedBlocks. We've been around for 7+ years. We've been building and delivering health IT products. And our main thing is like we provide services to people building on health IT standards. So specifically FHIR, HL7, OpenAir, CCDA, IHE, anything you name it, like we would have probably worked on some of these standards. Now again, like we've helped a bunch of governments. Mostly it's where the governments that enforce a particular standard. I worked with multiple different countries, worked with multiple big enterprises where they are just getting set up with a new health IT standard. They're like setting up their data platform. They are running rules engines on top of that. We help them. Startups, super interesting to work with, and like different things that they are working on. And again, I think FHIR, when it was invented by like Graham, he didn't mean it to be hard, right? Like this is the 5-5-5 rule of FHIR. It should take you 5 seconds to find the specification, 5 minutes to understand it, and 5 hours to have working code. But again, what has happened is that there are a lot of different versions of FHIR. There's a lot of different flavors of FHIR that people don't know where to start, what to do, and exactly like how to make sense of all of the different things out there. So I actually just started publishing content on FHIR and like on other health IT standards, mainly because it was hard for me to understand when I got started. And I just wish this was something that was there for me when I was like looking at all of this. So I just made all of these videos and articles and then like just started publishing, okay? And again, like over time, we've gotten a lot of people interested in our courses, our services, and they've approached us. And a lot of people, we have a lot of students today. Again, like lifelong students who we are in touch with almost. Like maybe some of you are here in the chat today. Like maybe just say hi. And again, like we have our software in 8 countries, more than 1 million patients covered, a lot of happy students, a lot of innovators, and our community is like growing. I think we hit close to 8,000 in the number of people in the community. So let's talk about what FHIR is, like how to understand FHIR using the RIPE framework, right? So RIPE stands for Resources, Implementation Guides, Profiles, and Exchange Paradigms. Like if you know all of this, you basically understand what FHIR is all about. But before I tell you about this, like I want to go into like how did I learn this? Like what is my background? Like how did I as a doctor move and know about FHIR? So I was born to doctors in India, and like usually you're just given 2 options in India. Like you either become a doctor or an engineer, and if you are born to doctors, then you basically have one option, which is like don't be a disappointment. So I joined medical school, I studied a lot, and afterwards like, okay, how did I learn about all this? Well, I took the FHIR courses. Like I spent a lot of money. I sat down. I tried to study as much as I can, and this is basically what I learned from basically the FHIR fundamentals and the intermediate course. I'm just gonna like condense it and quickly tell you what it covers. Yeah. So resources, implementation guides, profiles, and exchange paradigms. This is literally like what FHIR is about and how you can use them. Use it in the wild. Okay. So resources are the smallest unit of exchange that you can think of. Like it's sort of like an atom that you can think of in a molecule, right? Like so a resource acts as the smallest unit of exchangeable information. So anything in the healthcare domain that you can point at and say, okay, that is probably a resource. So it has different categories. It has like patients, encounters, observations, insurance claims, devices, practitioners, anything that you can point at or, you can think about in the healthcare domain is probably modeled as a FHIR resource. Now, not all FHIR resources are the same. There are some that are more mature than the others. And if you go to the FHIR website and then categorized by maturity, you will see these resources on level 5 with N next to it. So that means these are normative. They are probably not going to change. They're probably not going to break. But at the same time, FHIR is always changing. It's evolving. So you are going to have this level move up and down sometimes. Okay, like there might be a resource that just got introduced, or there might be a resource that was in level 3 but then now got promoted to level 4. So this is changing, right? Like the resources are always changing. Now, how do you interpret a resource, right? Like first thing you do is read the scope and usage. Like just go to the FHIR website, click on a particular resource. For example, you have patient here, read the scope and usage. It'll tell you what this is about. Well, did you know that patient can also include animals? Like, okay, now you know, because it's given here that, okay, it's not just for humans, it's like individuals or animal that is subject to potential past, current, or future health related care services or processes. So like try to understand this and just like this tells you what this is and what this is all about. The second thing that you have to look at is the structured view. Now, right below the description, you have a tree-like diagram where if you take a look at it, it'll tell you, okay, this is a patient resource and it has different fields, right? Like the structured view tells you what are the different fields that are available under a particular resource, in this case, patient. Now, if you look at these different fields, you will see that they are all of a different type. Now you need to understand what this type is. So for example, here you have identifier and it says the type is identifier. So not very helpful. But if you click on identifier, you will see that there are again like a lot of different FHIR types, and some types are primitive and some types are more complex. So I'll tell you what they mean. So again, all you need to do is just click on identifier and it will take you to the page where identifier is, and then it will tell you all the different fields that are under that particular type. So identifier can have use, type, system, value, period, and so on, right? Once you understand that, again, like you can recurse that, like you can keep doing that until you get to the primitive types. So for example, string, code, URI, all of these are just like strings, just different ways of telling strings. And you can even click on that and you can understand what that type is actually doing and what is the regex that validates that particular type. Now, once you understand that, you just need to understand what cardinality means. So cardinality says how many times can this field show up in a particular resource. So super simple. You have identifier. So the 0 here on the left means this can show up a minimum number of 0 times, which means like it's optional. And the ... star means it can show up a maximum number of, again, in this case, star means any number of times as you want, like infinity. So similarly, if you take a look at active, it can show up a minimum of 0 times and it can show up a maximum of 1 time. So which means you can only have one active field, which is either like true or false because it's a Boolean. Whereas the identifier can be, you can have multiple identifiers for a patient. Now, it's easier to just click on the example tab and like click on like JSON and then like take a look at an example resource. So you can immediately see that, okay, there's an identifier, it's an array, it has multiple things in it. Super easy to understand once you just take a look at the example. Now, after that, you need to understand what implementation guides are. Now, FHIR, the general FHIR, what it tells you is these are the international resources that everybody sort of needs to be aware of. But each country takes these FHIR resources and then they customize them based on their local requirements. Okay, so for example, like you can think of it like HL7 FHIR gives you like a cookie dough. So like the whole FHIR resources by HL7 International is a framework for other people to build real FHIR implementation guides using. Right, so you have the cookie dough, and the Germans might take and they might make a heart-shaped FHIR profile, and the US people might you take a star-shaped approach to it, and the Indian might have another round-shaped FHIR profile. So this is where the variability and the complexity in FHIR really comes from. And even within a particular country, you might have hundreds of different profiles. Like if you take just the US, you have the Karen implementation guides, you have the DaVinci implementation. There's like so many different things that are going on. But the IGs basically, like implementation guides, basically allow you to constrain or extend the FHIR resources that we took a look at previously. So they do this by doing only like two things. The first thing is profiles, which is how exactly the data looks like. And the second thing is the exchange paradigms. How do you exchange this information? What do you do with the data? So let's take a look at profiles. So what should the constrained data look like? So that's what the P in RIPE stands for. So first is they might change the cardinality. So we saw that for identifier, the international FHIR resource says it can be 0 to any. But then the US decided that, okay, you know what, like it doesn't make sense for a patient not to have an identifier. So we should actually make that mandatory. So we should make that 1. Similarly, you have the S, which stands for must support. That basically means if you have this data in your system, when somebody requests this data in the FHIR format, you need to translate that and you need to get it out of your system. And similarly, if somebody is sending you data in FHIR and then you can store this data in your system, then you need to store that. So that's basically like an instruction to the developer saying like, hey, you can't ignore this field. This is very important. You need to support this. And you can have extensions. So extensions allow you to add more fields to FHIR. So for example, you can have things like race, ethnicity, sex, birth sex, tribal affiliation, all of these things which are not present in the general normal FHIR profile. I mean, the normal patient resource, they are in the US core FHIR profile. So usually the question I get asked a lot is like, how do I create profiles? So unless you are a government or a really big organization, I would say like you shouldn't be creating profiles. So like really think about like what you're doing and like why you want to create profiles. But again, there's multiple ways to do it. Like you can do it by hand. You can just create like a structure definition, which is again another FHIR resource. You can use like GUI tools like Forge or Trifolia, or like you can use FHIR shorthand. That's like a new kid on the block, but a lot of people use it. So this is basically like how you create profiles. But again, unless you're a big government, it probably doesn't make sense to you to actually like create profiles. So let's talk about exchange paradigm. So now you have the profiled data. So you have specific FHIR resources that are now constrained, and you have these additional extensions. You have these additional things that a particular use case might require. How do you exchange this data between systems? Now, this is where the exchange paradigm comes in. And the first way is, of course, like messages, right? Like a system just sends it saying that, hey, this is happening to me right now. And again, like if you are I saw a lot of people in the chat who knew HL7 V2, they come from a HL7 V2 background. This is basically what happens with V2, right? Like whenever something happens, admission, discharge, transfer, you just send a message saying that, okay, this is what has happened. You can also send a document, right? Like you can have a full summary of like, this is the current state of the patient, or this is the current summary of what happened yesterday. You can have that as a full document. And if you come from a CCDA background, or if you've worked with some other form of documents in the healthcare space, you would know like what this is all about. Now, the thing is, FHIR can actually work with both of these. FHIR can work with multiple exchange paradigms. It's not limited to just one. The way that FHIR was designed is so that depending on the use case, people pick and choose the right exchange paradigm as well as the profile and the data structure. Now, before I talk about the third thing, I want to talk about like just my experience as a doctor, or like as a practicing intern, I would say, at my hospital. So that's me with a mosquito bat. So again, like this is the operating theater. And what I was assigned to do is kill any flies that enter the surgical theater, right? Like, and again, like it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to have flies in the theater. But then I was on this duty because the interns basically had nothing better to do, and they always used to give us like random work like this. And one of the work that we had to do was like, get up in the morning, and like around 5:30, 6:30, I had to go to the hospital and copy data from from one system. This was the lab system. So I had to copy data from the lab system, which was again, like it's digital, it's on another window. I had to copy that into the EMR system that the doctors would check, right? And I had to do this for like sometimes even 50 patients, right? Like it takes hours to like actually sit down and manually copy this. So I sort of came up with my own way to just automate this whole thing. I just, like there's a browser automation that I wrote. It automatically opens something. It just like moves around. So it was just like I was learning Python back then just to like get the hang around like doing this. And the next few weeks, I just told a lot of people that, okay, this is super cool. I was able to do that. And that single computer where I had installed this particular software that does this automation had a queue before I could like come in and actually enter my patients. It had a queue, like other people were waiting to like enter their own patients. So I was like, okay, wait, this doesn't make sense. Should we just like, I know exactly how this automation is supposed to work. Can't we go to the administrator, ask the two systems to just talk to each other, or like we can even help with the integration. We know, how to make these API calls, and like maybe we can do something where the lab system would automatically send this data to the EHR system. How hard can that be, right? So the response I got back from the administration was not that, hey, this is something that's cool, or like it was just bizarre. It was mostly like, hey, you know what, the lab system, we don't even have contacts with the vendor anymore. And the EMR system, they don't have any way for you to do this. And, it's completely off limits. You are not allowed to do that. And if you do, and they found out about the browser automation thing where like it automatically does this, then they just told me like, hey, you know what, the EMR people called us and they're like, you can't do that. That's not allowed. Now, you can see where I'm going with this. There is this whole information blocking thing going on in the US, and like there is this whole legal aspect to this. But this is where my curiosity about how interoperability really works, like I got started here, right? This was my origin story, if you have to put it. So far we've talked about these two paradigms where you have messages or documents and where the server is telling you like, hey, I don't trust you. I really don't care what you do with this information. Here, just take it. And then, the document is doing that. The RESTful API paradigm opens something new. Okay, like, so I think this is where the real shift is happening, which is it tells you that, you know what, I trust you, access what you want using this API, modify what you need, right? Like do whatever you want. Here's the API. You can use your credentials to do whatever you want on my server. And I trust you enough for you to let you do that. Now, this is completely new. Okay, like this has not happened before. And all of interoperability has been around like slinging documents and like throwing messages around fences. Okay. The RESTful API opens up a new way of thinking about what the future of health IT should even look like. And I have a lot of strong opinions here, but I'll try to control myself, and I'll just like go through the slides. So what you could actually do is with the RESTful FHIR paradigm, you could, for example, have this lab synchronization application as just another application, right? Like it could read data, it could write data back to another system, and that could just be its own application. But similarly, you can also have a primary care application just handle primary care. It's reading and writing data back to a server, but it's able to facilitate the whole primary care workflow of a practitioner. Similarly, you can have a chronic disease workflow that just works for that particular user. So again, like most people are tired of their EHRs. Like I haven't met anybody who's told me like, you know what, I'm in love with my EHR. I love what workflows it offers me. No, everybody hates their EHRs, but this thing, which is, it opens up the way to like interact with servers using an API. I think it opens up something broader than just interoperability. Okay. So it actually separates the data platform and the application. Okay, so the FHIR, RESTful FHIR is a new way to separate the data from the application. Again, this is super important because when you tie workflows to the data platform, you are stuck with that data platform forever. Like if Epic doesn't decide to do a particular workflow, you are basically, good luck, right? But if you are able to build an API layer and then allow everything that Epic is able to do, but using a different application, now you have a whole new world of new applications that do what you need to do. And like, again, with things like MCP, AI, and all of this coming up, like you see where this is going, right? So Smart was, again, like another spec that was introduced on top of RESTful FHIR. I think Josh Mendel, a very similar practitioner to me, and he had like similar problems. He worked on it. It got adopted by the US government as like a standard, and like HL7 also adopted it. So it became like the sort of norm for how you can authenticate with a FHIR server plus access data on the FHIR server. Okay. So this basically opens up a whole new system of like apps that can work on top of this FHIR API. So if you take a look at the Smart on FHIR app gallery, there are like hundreds of apps. Like this one charts bilirubin for a child because like every hour is important, and every hour there is a different like normal value for bilirubin. It can collect all data about a diabetic patient and like put them all together on one page for you. You can like look at the chief complaints that a patient came with and like pull relevant records. Again, like there's hundreds of apps out there. And again, the good thing is that based on RESTful FHIR, you can always like build a messaging agent. You can build a document agent. You can even build other paradigms of FHIR on top of this, right? Because it's like, it's giving you this full access to the API. So the thing that's happening right now is, again, this slide is really old. I probably had to, I probably should replace this. But Smart on FHIR has become the default way for people to expose information almost worldwide. So what has happened is you have, the US G10 regulation that came up. Like, again, let's see if I can just quickly share my screen. So you have the ASTP G10 regulation that basically tells you that, oh, you know what, as a EHR, if you want to receive money for Medicaid, you need to support FHIR, right? And then the CMS came up, and the CMS also has a FHIR implementation guide, and they say that if you are a payer or an insurance provider, you also need to, expose your data to the patient through FHIR, right? There's a CMS 0057F that's going on. And basically now what we are hearing is, if you're in the health IT space, if you don't expose your information through FHIR and Smart on FHIR specifically, then you are blocking information, right? So the whole information blocking thing came into effect, and almost all EHR vendors, everybody who's in the space sort of built an API that can allow you to connect to FHIR data. Okay. Now, because the US vendors also have a foothold in other countries, they also exposed the same APIs in other countries, and now we are seeing other countries like Norway, Denmark, and like there's a bunch of other countries like Singapore also adopt Smart on FHIR as the standard because the EHRs already support it. So again, like just take a look at the Epic app gallery. There's like 500, 600 apps, like probably thousands now. And why do you need to really build? Like whatever I'm saying so far might be a little bit on the technical side for some of you, but if you are still on, then that probably means that you understand and you are like, hopefully you're still with me. Now, I think FHIR is an implementation detail, right? Like, so like there's a difference between a practitioner looking at the EHR and going like, hey, I don't see the feature that I want. I have no idea what to do. I don't just see this feature here. And understanding that, okay, the top thing that you see is just the tip of the iceberg, and the real details or the actual interesting stuff happens underneath. And this is the switch that I want some of you to have, at least in this webinar, where I want you to move from here saying that, okay, I don't understand what is going on underneath. I just want the feature. I don't know how to get that, to there is this interoperability standard called FHIR. There is all of these different standards, and it is actually possible for me to build this feature that I want. And again, Josh, the creator of Smart on FHIR, is exactly the same in this vein, right? Like, because he's a doctor, he did something surprisingly similar to like the experience that I had. He basically wrote a browser script to automate something in Boston Children's Hospital, and that was the birth of Smart on FHIR as a whole. So when people move from this layer to this layer, magic happens. Like, you actually have new things coming out, and you have people inventing new standards. So I want to give you all a little bit of confidence that you can build even if you have no idea how to code. Like, and again, like, this is just getting better and better every year. But I wanted to show you how you can do this. So this is the DARE framework, which again, like, we'll go into in detail. But again, like, when I learned how to code, it was because I had a real problem that I had to solve, right? Like, I didn't want to copy lab records from this lab EHR system into another EMR system and spend 4 hours of my working time just like doing manual work. So I read this book called Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. And like, this was all way before AI and LLMs. And I just like wanted to get away from work. Like, I didn't really want to do that boring stuff. So I just learned it. And I think there is a real interest in a lot of you on how to actually code and how to go into the other side and actually build something. But then you just don't know what that thing that would push you to the other side is. And like, you don't go there because you're not forced to, right? Like, it's your work doesn't require you to learn how to code. And like, you were probably not in a situation like I was, where if I didn't do that, I had to spend 4 hours every day. And a lot of my colleagues were like more than happy just spending 4 hours doing that. But I really wasn't. So how do you really do this? Like, how do you understand how to code? Again, I'm a doctor. I don't have a coding background by training, but this is something I think everyone can do. So the first thing is like, understand that there is a difference between the concepts and the syntax, right? Like, for you to understand what is HTTP, you don't necessarily need to understand the nitty-gritty details of the syntax, right? So you just need to know what HTTP is. You just need to know that that's a concept. You just don't need to know all about how exactly to put that in a browser and how exactly to do that. Similarly, like, you can understand what RESTful APIs are without understanding how to use a programming language to actually code working like with a RESTful API. Similarly, like, you can understand what JSON is without actually understanding like, okay, this is how you do it. And I think you just need to absorb these concepts. You can just like go 2 levels deep, go to Wikipedia, try to understand what this is, ask AI. And again, like, Claude is super helpful. Gemini is super helpful. OpenAI, it's like, OpenAI is like, okay, not so much these days. But all of these generative AI learning tools are super excellent at like explaining it to you at the level of detail that you want. Right? So you can just go and ask it, like, explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. Like, explain it to me like I'm like just starting out with this concept. I know this and this, but I don't know the connection between this and this. So try to go 2 levels deep, meaning if you're learning HTTP, try to understand inside HTTP, like, what are verbs, what are headers, and so on. This is like, takes time, but then something you can do. Second thing is, you don't need to learn all of the syntax. You just need to learn the very basics of it. And then you can get away with just asking AI to generate the syntax for you. And again, if you explain a concept to AI well enough, the syntax is almost not not a moat anymore, or like, it's not a defense for programmers anymore. Like, anybody can write code, anybody can like, generate code with Cursor and like Claude Code. It's insane. So understand where you have to execute this. So you got some code, learn how to execute this. If you are running if you have a URL, you need to know that you have to paste that in your web browser. If you're executing JavaScript, you need to know that it's running in your browser's console. If you're running Python, you need to know how to put that in the terminal and how to run that. That's basically it. There are like, you can spend 5 to 10 minutes learning this. That's it. Now, if you just iterate all of this again and again and again, you get magic, right? Like, you get to a point where you may not have coded anything before this, and then you can like directly go into like actually coding. So I'll show you some things that people from our bootcamp have built with absolutely zero coding experience, just so that like you get some confidence.
And I did it like how we would do in a Swiss Hospital.
This being your first app, this is truly impressive.
Thank you.
Oh, good job.
Let me go ahead and add the patient. First time in life writing a web application code.
So we have a phase 1 cancer clinic and we're building some research labs. We want to start building the base for this future app.
Just a big round of applause in the chat, please. This is excellent. Everybody who's attempted it for the first time.
Thank you. And the credit definitely goes to Vipin.
I'm not telling that it'll be easy, but it will get you beyond your comfort zone and you will definitely see that magic happen. We've had a lot of people experience this when they build for the first time. Okay, and it usually like unlocks something new. We've had people get completely new jobs because of this. And again, like I have a comment here saying, this is really encouraging for people like me coming with only strong background in healthcare with less technical background. I think the tech today is a commodity. Like I think anybody can learn how to code. Anybody can learn how to like actually build these things. The real value is in the domain expertise, in understanding what patients feel, in understanding what practitioners feel, in understanding their pain points. Like I think that is truly valuable, right? So I think more and more of you, if you're able to come in and translate the real problems that we are facing and the patients are facing, and then actually build solutions. And again, all of you can do this. It's not out of the, like I have every single bootcamp, I have at least 10 people tell me like they have never touched code in their life. And this is the first time they're building something and they built something amazing that I can't even believe that, it's possible now using these tools. So again, like I think once you learn how to code and once you learn how to build things, it's pretty close to what comes to like magic in this world today. Okay, I don't know where this quote is from, but I really liked it. Now, I really wanted to actually attempt, right? Like all of you have access to the first module of the FHIR Bootcamp. Try to build the first app, right? Like try to send me videos, send me an email back saying like, hey, this is what I built. Now again, we do start the official cohort in February, but you still, if you have time, take a stab at it, build the first patient management application, just see how far you get with absolutely nothing but just like the instructions there and AI. Okay, just download Cursor, download Cloud Code, like go at it. Okay, now I still think like FHIR is the fastest way to connect to today's health IT infrastructure, but there are a few places where FHIR doesn't always hold up, right? Like, and usually like if you're building your own EHR system or if you're building your own infrastructure, then using FHIR as the primary database may not be the best idea. Like, so I just like to tell this warning here so that there may be some of you in the chat or like there may be some of you watching today who might suddenly be like, okay, like I will use FHIR for everything. Okay, like it is the best way to connect to different systems today, but there is still a long way to go before you use FHIR as your database. So like, just like hold on to that thought. We'll talk a little bit more about that if you are using that in that way in the chat later. Okay. So let's talk about how to monetize your FHIR expertise and actually make money, right? So again, like one is you can get a job. I don't want to talk too much about this because I've never done so. I've mostly run my own business, but again, you can give the official FHIR exam. You can gain some work experience. Maybe like if you want, you can intern with us. We are open to having some of you, if you have the experience, make a nice looking resume, like apply for jobs. That's one way to do it. Or you can start your own business or you can run your own business. And I have basically been doing this. So I think it's fair for me to comment on this rather than like how to get a job. Now, running a business is just two things that if you are able to do well, you basically have got it, which is like get new clients, fulfill the clients. That's it. Now, how do you get clients? So again, this is this matrix I really like by Alex Hormozy. He has a book called $100 Million Sales where he talks about this. The thing is there are multiple ways to actually like get people. So you can have people you can just like go and talk to them one-on-one. That's like warm outreach. And again, it can be people you can talk to them one-to-many, like post free content. So again, like for example, I'm posting this for free. Many of you might feel that you know me, even though like I may not fully like know you or we may have never met, but posting free content is as close as it gets to like having your face known by other people. But you can also do like cold outreach and running paid ads, which is like, the people who don't know you and you're just like sending out emails to them, or like you're running a paid ad and then targeting people. To me, this really doesn't work well in the healthcare sector specifically, because healthcare moves at the speed of trust. So people usually trust people they know. And again, the best way to like actually do this and build your network is just go attend conferences, like, go meet other people. And it's a really good investment if you want to expand your network. You can, again, like the virtual events like this, where you can meet other people. There is like our Slack channel, there is like all these mailing groups. So you can join some of this and like just get to know these people. And again, like posting free content is how we make ourselves known, and we just talk about what we know, like, and what we did, how we solved some problem for some customer. And it's usually valuable. People see that, people understand that, okay, you know how to do this, and they usually approach you. So that's how things have been working for us. Now, the second thing is fulfilling customers. So here, initially, we actually made a lot of mistakes, and I just don't want you to do the same exact mistakes. So initially, we used to take any and every project that comes to us, like regardless of, okay, like you have an individual coming to us with $100 an hour, we'll take them. You have a small clinic that's coming to you with a particular project for $10,000, okay, we'll take them. And again, like all of them have different paying capacities, right? But it really depends on what kind of people you want to serve. How do you want to actually optimize your team and your workforce? So it makes sense to choose one single kind of customer and then serve them over and over again, as opposed to having multiple kinds of customers. And that also usually means having a very particular band of who you can work with. So for example, our main business is services, and our services starts at like $45,000 a quarter. And we have a certain kind of people who we usually serve. Like these are usually bigger hospitals, or like health networks, or like someone who's able to spend more than 100,000 a year at least. So this led us to like actually optimize for the fulfillment process a lot better. And previously, like where you are like completely between different things, this allows you to sort of focus on who your main target group is. In our case, it's usually like governments, healthcare networks, big enterprises, and like bigger hospital chains. And then you can just like refer everything else to other people. Like if you check our Slack channel, like we just put a lot of things like, hey, this person needs this person needs this. And usually we are like, okay, like you are completely okay not taking this business up. Like you should be okay if you do the client acquisition well enough, then you should also be able to say no to a few of the projects that come your way, which are not a good fit. So what have we covered so far? Again, like we took a look at how to understand the FHIR framework with Ripe. We took a look at how RESTful FHIR is a complete platform shift. We saw how truly mastering FHIR requires you to build. We also saw like how you can build anything, and how like hundreds of people have built things with the DARE framework. We also saw how not to use FHIR, like don't use it as a database yet. It's like it's a more nuanced topic. And we also saw how to use your FHIR skills and actually make money, like get customers, fulfill them, choose your customers. Now, I know this might be a lot of information. And again, like there may be a few of you who have already joined our FHIR Bootcamp, and many of you here who have joined in for free. I just want to know if you're okay for me to roll the ad break. So I'm going to sell why you should enroll in our FHIR Bootcamp. I have a special offer for you, but I don't want to do this before I get your consent. So let me know in the chat if it's okay for me to go and tell you what the FHIR Bootcamp is all about. What do we do? How do we do it? What is covered? So just let me know in the chat, say yes bootcamp, and then I will move on to the next slides. If not, I can just take questions and we can end the webinar. But if you're in the chat and if you're interested in taking part in the bootcamp, or if you want to enroll, just let me know. Just say yes bootcamp, or like, okay, cool, or like anything. Yep. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of S's, and I also took a much needed water break. So again, the reason I ask is because like sometimes there are only the people who have already bought our bootcamp in the chat, and I don't want to sell this to somebody who's already bought it. So okay, cool. Why did I make the FHIR bootcamp? So I took multiple health informatics courses right after college. Like I, paid a lot of money to HLSO and SNOMED, everyone, like more than $5,000 just on courses. And the problem with almost all of these courses are they were not practical and didn't really help me build any real skills for real projects. Okay, so they will tell you what FHIR is, they'll tell you what SNOMED CT is, but they won't tell you like, okay, how do you use this? What are the nuances when you are actually building an app? How do you really connect to an Epic system or like a Cerner system? Nothing, right? So I spent more than 3 years actually building this course, and it's just a course that I wish I had when I started, and something that would have like helped me when I actually wanted to make the transition from just like being a doctor to moving into health IT. So what's the most effective way to learn, right? So again, like you can lecture someone, like maybe you're listening to me talk in this bootcamp, orientation webinar, maybe you can read something, you can learn about it. But the actual fastest way to learn is actually doing something and then like putting that thing into use in your everyday work, right? Like actually getting something out of it. So that's basically what the bootcamp is for. It basically forces you to build. So each week we have something that you have to build. So you have a mentor, you have other people joining along with you, you have a clear goal on what you need to build. So again, and you have a deadline. A lot of people are super talented. You have everything that you need. It's just that you don't have that pressure to actually go and do that, right? And that is basically what the bootcamp is offering you. Now, if you want, there is also a free way to learn. I have a lot of videos on YouTube. You can already go check them out. It's completely free. But the bootcamp is for people who want to be pushed to the other side so that you complete this and you finish this and you actually have something working at the end of every 2 weeks. So what do we do? What do we actually build? I think I went over this in the beginning of the webinar as well. So module 1, you'll build a patient management application. It's already unlocked for all of you if you've signed up on our website. It's free. Check it out. Try and build this. Probably it'll take you 2 weeks. The second module, we'll actually build a patient app on Epic. We'll see how you can authenticate with a system like Epic, how you can pull real FHIR data from an EHR, maybe even your own EHR, and actually display that on like a patient-facing app. Module 3 is all about like practitioner-facing apps on Cerner. So again, we just switch to Cerner just so you have some variety, but you will build an app in the context of a practitioner where within their EHR, they're able to like switch from their normal EHR workflow into this particular app that you built, and then they're able to do something different. Module 4 is all about like smart backend workflows, right? Like we do this with Epic as well as Cerner, but what we do is like without any user interaction, how can you get this data? And maybe a lot of you are working in the payer space, and maybe a lot of you are working like completely in the backend analytics. This is super important on how actually do you get this data from different systems. And finally, in module 5, we'll talk about how to build a FHIR facade, which again, if you're a payer, if you're a provider, if you're a health IT vendor, and you need to build that layer on top, how do you do that? What do you do? So each of these modules, like I just want to tell you the value that we are providing. Just the pre-recorded videos alone, I've already sold for more than $1,500, just the videos alone, right? Like just a bunch of videos. And we have a lot of our other people in the market who are selling this already. So you also get one-on-one sessions and one-on-one help with all of your apps. So if you're ever stuck, you have our developers, you have the team always ready to help you. And technically the one-on-one sessions are unlimited, but let's say you take 20 sessions, like one per week, that alone is worth $3,000. Now again, we have the coding tutorials and the code samples. The first one, I've already given it to you for free. So like, I don't want to put a value to that. But the second one, we have actually built smart on FHIR patient applications for anywhere from like, $20,000 to $40,000, but the code is at least worth $5,000, like if you're starting from there, right? And the smart practitioner app, again, I think we've done so many of this. We've sold any of our clients from like $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 on, depending on the complexity of the app. But the baseline of just being able to connect to a Cerner endpoint and being able to have a working app is at least worth like $10,000. Then you also get to build the backend app on Epic plus Cerner. Now I think we also have that added module. At least 5,000 we charged, anywhere again like from 10,000 to 40,000 just for this kind of work when we deliver it to customers. Finally, the FHIR facade. This is because of the information blocking rules that just came into effect in the US, and people rushing to like get their payer systems and like provider systems exposed through FHIR. We just got a flood of these kind of customers. And again, the minimum that you would say that something like this would take for someone to actually set up and make things work is at least 30,000 to like $60,000. But I think the code samples and the tutorials you're going to get are at least worth like 15,000. Now again, on top of that, you can become a certified partner with us. You can we can work together. There is also that onboarding we bundle in usually, and the total value of what you're getting in the FHIR Bootcamp is close to 41,500, very close to this. Now, I'm not going to sell this at this rate, obviously. But if I were, again, like a quarter of our services is usually like $45,000. I think you are pretty much getting the same level of time and effort as our actual customers who we serve, right? Like that's the level of detail that usually each student gets. Now you're getting all of this for $1,399. That's what we are selling this for. But again, like don't buy just yet. We have a special offer for you. So just to compare, how do we compare with the rest? I don't think there is anything else on the market that covers FHIR as well as our course does. I really want to challenge anyone to like provide me with another paid module or like a paid course that covers whatever we cover. I don't think there is anything. Like pretty much I can confidently say that we have the best FHIR course on the planet today. And a lot of people who've taken our course would also probably say that. Again, like it's how we compare with the FHIR Fundamentals Intermediate, the FHIR course. These don't cover a lot of things, and it just costs you a lot more per video than us. And again, we offer a 100% money back guarantee. Like if you feel like you don't want to take part in it after you've taken maybe like a month or two, sure, like we'll give you our money back. Like again, we have no questions here. We just give you your money back if you're not happy. And we've also had a lot of people roll over to different batches. So like if life gets in the way and then you just don't want to finish it in that particular season, we can roll you over to the next season, or you can take a refund. No worries at all, right? And you also get a certificate which tells that you finished the FHIR Bootcamp. And again, this is recognized by a lot of our vendors and partners, where they know that the FHIR certification exam tests you on just the standards, whereas the FHIR Bootcamp is like you actually building these apps. But we also don't give all of the certificates that easily without you finishing at least 4 of the 5 apps. So you do need to finish the apps for you to get the certificate. So it's, it is challenging, but if you put in the time, you should get over to the other side. Now, I just want to talk about like what the participants say. Like I'll probably just show you what they have to say.
Epic or APIs, calls, or anything like that. It's very challenging. I personally tried to look at a little bit of my own, and I couldn't figure most of this. So this really, really pushed me. This is an excellent course. This is well worth it.
My JavaScript was pretty weak, non-existent almost. The course made it easy. The course is amazing. I think if you want to do anything with FHIR, this is really the best course you can take.
The pace, the format of the course, the kickoff classes and then follow-up classes, everything has been really good.
This course is like forcing me in a good way to learn coding every week. I found that like I have accomplished new things.
What this class is helping me do is have vocabulary to talk to these developers.
A fantastic course. I was really lucky to get on it last minute. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot.
For this bootcamp, I didn't have all the vocabulary in place. Now, all of a sudden, just because I was in this course, I say, all right, no, there is a way out of it. We can build the FHIR facade. One of the biggest wins of this bootcamp is that I've done things that I've thought I wasn't able to do.
Okay, cool. So we are running a special promo. Again, we usually do this after webinars, so many of you are probably already primed. But yeah, we are running a 30% discount for the next 60 minutes, and just go to medblocks.com/fire if you want to grab your seats. But again, right with that, I'll also be taking questions. So again, let me first answer the most common questions I get, so we get that out of the way. When do the live classes happen? They happen exactly at the same time as you join this webinar. So depending on your time zone, it's exactly the same time. It happens on every Wednesday. And we'll be starting in Feb. So you do still have some time. So will the live classes be recorded? Yes, all the live classes would be recorded, and you can view them in your own time if the time zone doesn't work for you. I'm not technical. Should I enroll? So if you're not technical, you need to have time, right? You need to have time to understand the different concepts and then actually try to vibe code using these AI tools. So if you are not technical, then just come with enough time to be able to figure these things out. And again, we have all the support you need. We have the mentors. A lot of people have been very successful with this, but you do need the time. So if you have a very hectic schedule and then you're not technical, then I'm not promising you that you'll be able to finish all of the apps in time. But I have seen everyone who has put in the effort actually get more than the reward that they've put in for their effort. So how many one-on-one sessions do I get? So you get technically unlimited one-on-one sessions. You can schedule as many as you want, but you could at least think of it like one per week. So that comes up to around 20. And I will answer other questions. So is it daytime sessions? So it's exactly the same time as this webinar. So all of the live classes are exactly the same time as this webinar on Wednesdays. So is what you learn in Cerner transferable to Epic and vice versa? Absolutely. So because it's a standard, because FHIR is a standard, because Smart on FHIR is a standard, almost everything that you learn is not only transferable to Epic and Cerner, it's also transferable to all EHRs that are in the US. So you can connect to eClinicalWorks, you can connect to Athena, you can connect to all of these different EHRs that support Smart on FHIR. And not just EHRs, you are also having payers open up. So you can connect to CMS Blue Button. You can connect to Aetna. You can connect to, even Commonwealth. There's a lot of new initiatives that are opening up, the HIEs through FHIR, through TEFCA and so on. So you can even connect to all of these. So all of this is very, very new recent developments. So let me quickly answer. I think Preetham is also answering some questions here. So Preetham will also be helping with some of the one-on-one classes and the sessions. We also have Vipin, our instructor. So let me see. Okay, are we going to cover something about the DaVinci and Karen Blue Button kind of FHIR accelerators? Very good question. This course, as it stands right now, does not have any of the modules for the payers side right now. But we are actively working towards adding all of this. So actually some of the planned modules that we have are CDS hooks, CQL, and the FHIR implementation guides for payers. So this includes the Karen Blue Button implementation guide, the DaVinci PDEX, as well as the other, the payer-to-payer exchange. So the problem is none of this is fully yet set in stone. They are changing a few things. As we speak, there are a few things that are again, it's in STU1, it's not fully mature. So the reason we are holding off on creating content immediately for this is it is changing as we speak. But what we can do is if you are a payer or if you're in the payer space, we can use some of your one-to-one sessions to cover the DaVinci profiles on the Karen IGs. So the Karen IGs at least won't be that different from the last module, the FHIR facade on Postgres. But the DaVinci profiles are completely different. They are messaging based and they have their own APIs. There's the pre-authorization and so on. So it's slightly different, but we can cover them in the one-on-one sessions and maybe even in the live classes if all the other participants want to listen in on that and they're interested. It is something that we can possibly cover. So let's see. Does it cover DaVinci prior auth? Yes. So it doesn't. Okay. So it doesn't, but I can try my best to cover that maybe in the one-on-one sessions or the the live classes if other people are interested. Do I need to access some specific plan of ECW or Epic for this course? Really good question. No. So according to the information blocking regulation, any developer, anyone, it can be, you need not even be located in the US, should be able to create an application and publish it and take it to production without needing anyone's approval. Like it might take you a few days to like actually put it on the App Store and do that, but you don't need a paid plan. You don't need to have anything with Epic or ECW if you're building a patient-facing application. Now, if you're on the provider side, then again, there is no specific plan per se. Like if you just have an installation, you just need to like call them up and ask them to configure the app that you built. But it's pretty straightforward. It's like very similar to how we would do it with like Epic or Cerner, which we would see in like module 3. All right. Have you used Frappe Health for your clients? Yes, we have used Frappe Health. We have used ERP-Next along with Frappe Health. I have a lot of thoughts. I wouldn't say it's my first recommendation for like all projects, but then it does have its use case and like it does work for some projects which don't require like a lot of structured data capture. But yeah, we have used Frappe Health quite a bit. Okay, where to pay? All right. Let's give me some time. I'll just show you where to pay. Just go to the link here. I think this medblocks.com/FHIR, medblocks.com/FHIR. What you're gonna see is, all right, so I am actually logged in, so it doesn't show me, and I have access to the course, so it doesn't show the pay option, but let me try to sign out. So what you'll need to do here is like just enter your email and like first like log in, and then afterwards you should see a payment window open up. Let me see if I can actually log in with my personal account. So medblocks.com/FHIR. I was just listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So yeah, there we go. So you have, so I have logged into my another account, and you have this thing showing up with, the discount. Of course, the discount is only valid for another like 1 hour. So just click on enroll now here, and you'll be taken to Stripe. Choose whichever currency you're okay with, and again, either pay through link or your card. One more thing is we also have Klarna now. This is not, this wasn't available before, but Klarna allows you to pay this in installments. So you don't have to pay it all once. You can pay it in 4 installments over a period of like 3 to 18 months. And again, like you just need to pay $244 today. And this is like completely interest-free. Like it's, we bear the cost of the interest. So that is also available. So again, this applies on top of the 30% off. So this is again, like a lot of people had requested for payments in installments. So we made this available. So there is Klarna as well as your card. So you can just like choose whatever works for you. Yeah, and let me go back to my slides real quick. Take more questions. All right. So for building background app with Epic, is there a need to have some partnership with Epic or any agreement? You don't need to have a partnership with Epic directly, but yes, you sort of, actually, never mind. Yes, for a backend app, you need the vendor services agreement, as well as you need to have the provider organization who's in charge of onboarding you. They also need to whitelist your app so that you can actually pull. The background application is specifically like a system level scope. So you basically get access to like all the records, and it's quite involved, but it's not as difficult once you know how to do the technical bits. So it's again, like you do need to have a vendor services agreement. You do need to talk to the provider and like get things configured. But once you have that done, your app will just like continue to work. It's not like the same smooth sailing process as a patient app. I can maybe show you what exactly I'm talking about regarding to the patient app. FHIR.epic. So patient apps have this special category where they automatically get distributed. Okay. So if you see patient-facing apps using FHIR, so again, this is not always available for all things, but like you have this option of automatic client record distribution. So what they say is, okay, like if you're using this on an Epic installation of like August 2024 and later, and you use only these scopes, and again, these scopes are like documented below. Here it's just like a bunch of different scopes. All of these. If you only use these scopes, then you don't need to approach Epic to approve anything. Like it automatically gets distributed to all hospitals. Okay. So yeah, that works. But if it's a backend app and if it's like, if it doesn't come under any of these automatic client distribution use cases, then it becomes a little bit more involved where you got to like contact the provider, or you got to ask them and so on. Okay. All right. Sorry for this background thing, but do we need to pay Epic for vendor services, or just having an agreement is enough? The vendor services is going to cost you on a yearly basis, I believe. But then if you approach the provider who wants to onboard you, then I think there is a way to get away with like onboarding your app without having a vendor services agreement. So again, I think maybe I'll show you what this looks like just so that you have an idea. So I'll take another questions. 85 lessons over 10 weeks with weekly lessons on Wednesdays. How does this work? How much work is expected after each lesson for a novice? So the lessons are mostly asynchronous. So you have a bunch of videos that you are going to get access to. All of the videos are here. The live classes are more or less there for just like kicking things off and then for you to come in and show your demos. So most of the time you're going to be working by yourself. So maybe like, I think 3 to 4 hours a week is more than adequate if you actually know what you're doing. And maybe 7 or 8 hours if you're like building things for the first time. But yeah, like the live classes are mostly there to sort of guide you, maybe if you have questions and so on. Okay. So let me show you what this looks like in production. So for example, you might have an app that's ready to go in production. What you need is, nobody has requested this, and you actually need an organization to like request your app. So that process can be made faster and easier by putting this on the App Store so that they can just click and you can get it listed. But if your app qualifies as a patient-facing app, then what will happen is, again, like we did this in another live stream, like I think a month ago, you can automatically get yourself listed in all of these different 512 organizations that use Epic. And all you need to do is like click on like activate for non-production and activate for production, and then you're in. Like you can actually start pulling real patient data. But before that, there is this process where, again, like if you don't qualify for automatic distribution, you sort of need to call them up. You need to tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing with your data, yada, yada. And then like they'll list your app, but you just need to give them this client ID, right? You just need to basically tell them that, oh, okay, this is my client ID. Please like list my app on your installation of Epic. All right, too much detail. I think let's go back. All right. Which programming language are we going to use? Yes, so all of the tutorials are in, it's the TypeScript, Node.js, and the last module is in Java. But in every single bootcamp that we've had people submit the applications in their own language of choice. We've had so many Python Streamlit submissions. We've had so many Golang submissions. We've had so many like Swift iOS people like just like build it as a mobile app. So you're completely fine to build it in whatever language that you want, as long as you meet the requirements and the spec. We accept submissions in any language. But again, the tutorials are mostly going to be in JavaScript, TypeScript, and the final app where you build a facade is going to be in Java. Very helpful. Thank you. All right. How do you get sample data in EHRs to make test application for the course? We will guide you through that as well. Like you can make a sandbox account with all of these EHRs. We will go through how you can make a sandbox account for Epic, for Cerner, and exactly what you need to do to get your sandbox account approved. And once you have a sandbox account, like Epic gives you a few patients to test with, and there is testing data available in their sandbox as well. All right, let's take some final questions. What is the duration of each session? Again, the live classes usually last for 1 hour, but most of the time you're working by yourself. You're just going through the different modules and you're trying to build something and just switching between the modules and you're building. And the live classes are mostly there to push you. They are, we usually have a kickoff class and we have a, like a demo session where you actually show what you've built to other people in the cohort. Again, I think I think there's a lot of questions that I can't really go back and read. So if I've missed something and you really want me to answer it, just copy your question again, please paste it in the chat so that I can quickly see this again. So do I need to pay for access to any services in order to be able to finish the bootcamp projects and publish them? No, the patient app is completely zero payment. You can do this fully after just knowing how to do this. The others, the practitioner app and the bulk app, you basically need a customer who asks you to be they need to list your app on their EHR. That's basically it. But apart from this, if you're using coding tools, for example, if you're using Cursor or if you're using some AI vibe coding tool, then you may have to pay for those services. But apart from this, nothing else. You don't need anything. You do need a good laptop, maybe a good internet connection, but I think that's about it. Can I ask question on OpenMRS and OpenEMR? Okay, why not? Why not? Okay, I'll take questions. I still have time. I can take questions. So let's see. Timing of the live session, is it day timing? Yes, so it's the exact same time, Nikhil. So this was around, I think 10 a.m. EST. So based on where you're located, it's exactly when this webinar started. We'll have it, I think in India, it's 8 p.m. IST. It's EST 10 a.m. I believe. So it's around 10 a.m. In the daytime. Are practitioner facing apps eligible for automatic distribution? According to Epic right now, no, they are not eligible for automatic distribution, unfortunately. But this might change with the upcoming HTI regulation, which says that they're expanding the criteria of what constitutes information blocking, and some of this is interesting because you will now be able to write data back to the HR as well. All right, thank you. All right, I think I've answered all questions. I did see, can I ask question on OpenMRS and OpenEMR? Maybe shoot the question. I will see if I can answer it. If not, I think we've covered quite a bit. And again, for all of you who've already joined the bootcamp cohort, I will see you in February. That's where we kick off. But again, we might be having another webinar for another batch of orientation as well. So again, if you are interested in joining that, you can join that as well. But for the others who are just thinking whether or not to buy this bootcamp, we have limited seats. We usually only take around 20 people per cohort. So if you're interested, please do enroll. We already have it booked with other people who've paid long ago, and some of our service customers get some discounts. So they have basically booked out a whole full chunk. So if you're interested, again, please do enroll soon before the seats run out. The discount also has a timer here, but yeah. All right, will taking this bootcamp help with OpenEMR and OpenMRS development? No. This is a FHIR specific bootcamp. We cover all of these apps. This doesn't include OpenEMR and OpenMRS development, unfortunately. So I would say no. If you are interested in OpenEMR and OpenMRS and want to enroll in this bootcamp, then probably not the best fit. Yeah, it's probably not for you. Right. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for joining today. Really interesting people, and super excited to again have all of you today with me on the live stream. I still see 50 of you here, which is great. Again, thanks a lot for joining. I know I couldn't read all of the intros, so I will try to quickly just skim through and see. We have Ishwar, we have Anipal trying to read about how healthcare data flows. Hi from Chennai. Okay, pretty cool. And we have again, about actually fresher, beginner recently got placed, looking at electronic prior auth. Okay, a lot of people from the payer side. All right. Cool. So again, thanks a lot for joining. You'll hear from me. And again, if you're just like interested in chatting up, then just like send me an email, Sidharth, SIDHARTH at medblocks.com. If you are again just interested in like some of the training courses, just you can email us at learn@medblocks.com as well. We'll get back to you with any questions you might have. And again, like we can always grab a slot if you're interested in like just chatting. We can book a call, just like talk if you're interested. And yeah, really nice having all of you today, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And yep, I'll see you. Any other last questions? All right. Okay. Is the one-on-one session once a week? How to approach mentors? So you will be given a link. So it'll look very similar to this. I can maybe show you. So you'll have, sorry. So you'll have a link that's given exclusively for the bootcamp, and you'll have multiple slots that you can choose from, and you can pick whichever slot works for you, and the instructor would be available at that slot for you. So yeah, okay, that's fine. Already signed up, excited? Yes, welcome on board. See you in February during the bootcamp. How to integrate smart backend on Epic with multiple hospitals. Actually, application is listed on connection number. How to integrate multiple smart backend app on Epic with multiple hospitals. So Sanjay, actually, I think for the use case that you are trying to do, you may want to take a look at Tefka. Okay, there is an easier way to pull data right now, which is using the Tefka and the Tefka IAS workflow. Maybe have a look at that. But if not, then there is no easy way around this. You basically have to have your app listed on all of these hospitals. And once you have them, you'll have the the FHIR endpoint of all of these hospitals. Again, like you can see, just search for Epic endpoints and you'll get a list of all of the different FHIR endpoints for different organizations. You need to make a call to all of this, initiate the backend flow, and then you can pull data from all of this. So it's not too difficult, but then you do need to get your app listed on all of these different institutions by contacting them and then getting through on that Epic client installation. So that is the only issue there. But apart from that, yes, it's pretty straightforward. Will there be any concepts of CDS hooks covered? I think we can do them in the one-on-ones and the live classes. Currently, the modules don't have them. We are really working hard to add this as one of the modules that we can give you access to. But we do have other content that's already like free that we can help with, and we can add that to your course module. But right now, you're not building an app for CDS hooks yet. Okay, so let me just go back to a white background so you can see this. Have you built an app fully in local Epic instance with locally managed? Will this bootcamp help? Okay. I don't think there is something like local Epic. We have built it in production with some of our customers. And again, like if you have a staging environment with a customer, then that's something you can test. And if you have a vendor services agreement, then you will have a sandbox all to yourself. So if that's what you mean by local, yes, you can if you get a vendor services sandbox. If not, you will have to use one of the sandbox that Epic gives you here. Let me see. Sandbox test data. So if you just click on sandbox test data, you'll see how they give you an endpoint, they give you like a bunch of users and a bunch of patients with some data, and you basically test with them. So we'll be working with this in the bootcamp. You won't actually be doing it all locally because you don't need to connect to the Epic installation to get this done. Okay, so I think we're on time, and thank you for all the questions. It was super interesting. The webinar was interesting, and again, looking forward to having you all maybe in another live session or maybe in another webinar, maybe the bootcamp, maybe on a one-on-one call later. But yeah, just email me if you want anything, and I'll see how I can help you. But have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.